Welcome to Mitchellium's Classroom by Mr. Africa. This is part 2 of our discussion, What's in an Atom? From the last episode, we explored about John Dalton and how he viewed atoms as simple, indivisible, tiny spheres. We also discussed about J.J. Thomson and his plum pudding model through the cathode ray tube experiments and his discovery of the electron. And lastly, the discovery of nucleus by Ernest Rutherford through his gold foil experiments. In 1913, a Danish physicist, Niels Bohr, modified Rutherford's atom to explain how atoms in gases could both absorb and emit light. Bohr suggested that the electrons were not orbiting anyhow around the nucleus, but rather it must be fixed into certain allowed orbits and no others. This diagram shows Bohr's atomic model. Now for J.J. Thomson, he proposed that there are negatively charged particles, which are the electrons, inside a positively charged sphere. And then for Ernest Rutherford, he discovered that there is a condensed particle inside, which is bigger, and he called it the nucleus. And there are negatively charged particles, which are the electrons, that are moving around this nucleus. But for Niels Bohr's model, it shows that these electrons are moving at a certain allowed orbit. This. So contrary to Ernest Rutherford's model where the negatively charged particles or the electrons are just moving around the nucleus, for Bohr's atomic model, he proposed that there is a fixed orbit where it moves. In 1911, Rutherford discovered about the nucleus, and in 1932, another British physicist, James Chadwick, discovered another particle inside the nucleus. This particle had no electrical charge at all and so was called the neutron. The positive charge in the nucleus was thought to come from the protons, which is here, that were about the same size and mass as the neutron. So the negatively charged particle is the electron, and the one without the charge is the neutron, discovered by James Chadwick in 1932. Now let's discuss the parts of the atom. First is the proton, which has a mass of 1.6726 times 10 to the negative 27 kilograms and is positively charged. Next is the neutron, which has a mass of 1.6749 times 10 to the negative 27 kilograms, and it is approximately 1 relative to the mass of the proton, and it doesn't have a charge, so it's 0. And lastly is the electron, which has a mass of 9.1094 times 10 to the negative 31. And its mass is 1 over 1,800 relative to the mass of the proton, and it is negatively charged. So these are the parts of the atom. We have the proton, which is positively charged, and the neutron, which doesn't have any charge, and it comprises the atom's nucleus. So this is the nucleus, and outside the nucleus we have the electrons, the negatively charged particles that is orbiting. So this is an orbit around the nucleus. So these are the basic parts of the atom. Now, Scientists have gone still further to hypothesize that protons and neutrons themselves contain unimaginably tiny particles of different types called quarks in various combinations. A quark is a type of elementary particle and a fundamental constituent of matter. Quarks combine to form composite particles called hadrons, the most stable of which are protons and neutrons, the components of atomic nuclei. So, in summary, today we discuss about Niels Bohr and his orbitals where the electrons are fixed. We also studied about James Chadwick and his discovery of the neutrons. We also studied the parts of the atom, which are the proton, which is the positively charged, electron, which is the negatively charged, and the neutron, which doesn't have any charge at all. And the quarks, which are the fundamental constituent of matter. Thank you for listening and have fun learning.